A game above 500, but we want more. Please give us more. The San Antonio Spurs shot the lights out and we can't shoot the 3 ball, so now we're really sad.
Victor Wembenyama, why did you have to have your season high? 34 points? That is ridiculous.
That's ridiculous. It makes me cry.
At least HB didn't go off.
Yeah, that would have been bad.
Welcome back to episode 9 of the Kang Gang Pod. We are recording this right after the San Antonio Spurs loss, but before we talk about the bad, we gotta talk about what happened the night before.
Have to switch it up.
We're talking about the good to start off today's episode. We're talking about the Kings' overtime victory versus the Phoenix Suns that happened last night. Unbelievable game in many facets of the word unbelievable. Not just because of what happened with our 2-star players. I'm talking that whistle, those referees.
Yeah.
The zebras out on the court.
Our back was
Wild.
against the wall the whole game. Not just being on the road, but we definitely had the refs against us that game.
It felt like it was a Donahue.
Yeah. Donahue had money on it for
Donahue
sure. He had
definitely
the
had some
walkie-talkie.
I think what happens was we dealt with like 3 Scott Fosters that were there, and it was like, if you can stop 1 Scott Foster, how are you going to stop 3 Scott Fosters?
And somehow, with every single odd against the Kings, we prevail. Let's freaking talk about it because that game was unreal. So I'm going to skip to the second quarter because something really devastating happened. Malik Monk turns his ankle, and at first, like when it happened mid-play, it didn't look too bad, but when they slowed that thing down, I'm like, oh God. And then we got the news today. He's out 2 weeks. Talk about how are the Kings going to move forward with Malik out for 2 weeks when our bench has been lacking, as we all know, and now the guy that we've been relying on the most off our bench is going to be sitting out for 2 weeks.
Yeah, someone has to step up. I think every team in the league, no matter if it's the beginning of the year, the middle of the year, they go through something at some point, right? We were playing Phoenix, who was shorthanded and didn't have Kevin Durant. So I think it just shows, or it's a chance for some of our other guys to step up. Jaleel McLaughlin, Jordan McLaughlin.
Did you say Jaleel?
Jordan McLaughlin. I'm thinking
about
football.
to say.
Jordan McLaughlin, Doug McDermott. But it gives us a chance to see what our depth really is, right?
I think Jaleel McLaughlin plays football.
No, yeah, I know. But as sad as it was, we hope he's good. I think he said only a couple weeks is he's going to be out. So someone has to step up. And obviously, we're not going to jump ahead yet to the Spurs game, but we didn't necessarily have that right away.
I agree.
But, I think it'll be a silver lining for us to really see how good our depth is.
I agree. I think we've been in the spot before. Obviously, when we lose Monk, he's such a valuable piece. I mean, he was a 6th man of the year candidate the last 2 years. He's just been our catalyst, been our like spark plug. So to lose that, obviously, it's a little bit tougher. But I think with the pieces that we have now, we have to really, really focus on just making sure that we play very good ball and obviously keep our leads. So this is a good test for us. It's a good test for our bench. Who's going to step up? I think the person that I think would be most interesting to see to step up is Jordan McLaughlin. I think if he contributes, has very solid minutes, is able to do what he needs to do offensively and defensively, because there are games he came off the bench and went off in the playoffs 2 years ago with the Minnesota. So I think he can be very much a big catalyst. I think Keon Ellis could take that next step forward offensively. So
yeah. And as good as or as big of a loss as Monk's going to be, he hasn't been himself this year, right? He's having a slow start to the season. So as big of a loss as it is on paper, I think we're able to win without him, especially if our other guys step up.
I think what it does is it forces Mike Brown to like utilize his bench and like go deep into the bench. And I think it's going to better our team with playing without Malik. I think in the long run, it's going to better our bench. It's going to do very well. RT, you've been yawning like crazy.
I know. It's Monday. Manic Monday.
Long 3-day weekend.
Long 3-day weekend.
But sorry, I was just distracted.
Long day weekend.
But anyways, I think Mike Brown is going to be good for our bench moving forward, because we need our bench to pick it up. And I think with them playing heavier minutes, it's going to be better for our team.
Yeah.
Another thing that I wrote down with this Suns game that was mind-boggling. The Suns shot 57 3-pointers.
Wow.
That they were chucking it up last night. They made 18 for 57.
Wow.
So with scoring 18 threes, the Kings, I don't remember how many threes we had, but we were nowhere near. At least was shooting the amount of at a high clip like that. We were not firing that many threes off, but my God. 57 attempts is unbelievable.
And I think that's teams' game plan against us, right? Is to shoot as many threes as possible. They know we're a fast-paced team, especially when you're playing on the road, right? If you're the home team, you want to get that momentum. You want to shoot as many as possible. And obviously that's not the best clip in the world, but you can clearly see what teams are trying to do against us, especially if our perimeter defense isn't going to be as good as recent years, recent past.
It was a very back and forth game. It was like we had going into the half, we were up, and then they cut the lead very quickly. And they're playing without Kevin Durant, so they're and they had an 8-1 record going into that game, so they were trying to go all out and just continue that momentum without their star, even though they have other stars on their team. They played a very well game without Kevin Durant on the floor.
For sure.
But yeah, the biggest thing that stood out to me was the officiating. It just halted any type of momentum we had. I felt like the refs just didn't really they had no idea how to control that game, it felt like. And it was just one of those games where
we had to earn that win.
8. Yeah,
we had to earn that win for sure. But you need to get battle tested on road games like that. And obviously we'll get to the fourth quarter in a bit, but that's when it seems like we took the game. The fourth quarter and overtime is when we took the game from them, not just the Phoenix Suns, not just their fans, but the referees as well.
Yeah,
because it seems like they wanted the Suns to win too. Yeah. I don't know if they picked the overs or, like you said, if we had Donaghy with the walkie-talkie microphone to them. But this is one of the games where our duo showed up, DeRozan and Fox showed up, clutch players of the year, and we had to take the win from the Phoenix Suns.
And what was crazy was Fox was not playing like the Fox we know in the first three quarters. DeRozan was not playing like the DeRozan that we've seen in the first three quarters. DeRozan only had 10 points going after the third quarter.
Yeah.
Fox was 0 for 6 from the three-point line. He was filling out the stat sheet with rebounds and assists as well, but he was not I don't think he had over 10 to 12 points going into the fourth quarter as well.
Yeah.
So now let's talk about the fun stuff. The fourth quarter begins, and DeMar DeRozan takes over. RT, what did you see out of our new favorite player on the game?
He just was aggressive. He knew that he got to his spots. I think one of the biggest things that was very beautiful to see, his mid-range is so good. And just what I've seen from just an 11-game sample, he knows how to draw a defender. He knows how to get them in foul trouble. Like, the fact that he's able to pull a mid-range and every defender still falls for it is impressive. Like, the fact that he's able to pull up and the defender basically gets in his face and is touching.
He doesn't see them. He doesn't see the defender.
Yeah, and it's quick. It's a quick movement motion, and it goes in. 3-point play every time. It's an and one.
Yeah, it's getting to the point where you just assume his shots are going to go in at a certain point in the fourth. And the fact that he's been consistently leading our team in minutes in recent games at 35, when people said, "Oh, is he too old? Can he still contribute?" This dude is consistently leading our team in minutes, and he's shown, if not, this is the best clutch version of himself that we've seen in these recent games.
I agree, and I think a lot of people were kind of questioning it, like. There's a guy on Twitter. I'm not going to mention his name, but I know some people. I keep receipts.
I'm putting the Twitter name in the video.
It's
part of the script.
No, it's I'll Legend of Winning. Anyway, big YouTuber. Anyways, this guy basically was on another hater. So two haters were on there. Kevin O'Connell and Legend of Winning, two of the biggest Kings haters.
Oh, he's Kevin calling O'Connell. Out the big
two of the biggest Kings haters. This might be the thumbnail. This might be the thumbnail, everybody. But they were on a podcast together, and one of the things that
stand up
Legend of Winning said. No, I'm sitting down. This. I'm locked into the camera right now. But one of the things that Legend of Winning said, aka Legend of Losing, mentioned was one, that DeRozan should be on the bench and that Trey Lyles should be starting.
Okay, I did see that tweet. Now I know who you're talking about.
When did he tweet this?
Beginning of the season.
Yeah, it was after DeRozan was showing how good he is.
Yeah. It was beginning of the season.
Oh my gosh!
And it was he called it a lateral move. That was the one.
Oh wait, he's the one that called it a lateral move.
Yeah, he called it a lateral move. Yeah.
Oh, Legend of Losing.
So, Lo, if you want to come on the podcast and just face the music of the Kings fans, you're more than welcome to. I want to like have the smoke with you. So come on out, Low. You know who we are.
Or
Come
at least
through.
send a clip of your thoughts now that you see DeRozan popping off.
Exactly. Yes.
Somewhat
Literally.
peaking.
Yes, exactly.
RT really
Wow.
just gave this guy an open invite. That's legendary.
That was needed though, because I didn't know about that take. But if someone really did say that, that's pretty incredible. You got to eat your words.
Here's the thing though. He's also a Laker fan, so that like also explains it. So
that does it.
Okay, well now we understand the backstory.
Putting the pieces together now. Okay.
yeah.
Thank you for that, RT.
That was very much needed because now let's talk directly to the man. So DeMar DeRozan in the fourth quarter and overtime had 24 points, shooting 9 for 10 from the field. Are you freaking kidding me? Like RT was saying, he picks his spots perfectly. He gets the switches he wants. If the switches aren't there, he doesn't care. He gets to where he wants to on the court at any point in the game, especially in clutch time. He gets to his spot. He'll pump fake if he needs to. If not, he just rises up. And when he rises up without the pump fake, that's when they reach. Right. And that's when he always gets the N1 that RT loves. And last night, I was in complete awe the entire time. We were yelling at the TV, give the ball to DeRozan, because we know what he's going to do. And after you see 1 to 2 go in a row, I wasn't expecting 9 for 10, but my God.
Oh, he took over. He was a man on a mission. And I think the biggest thing is and it was hard to see right away how much he would actually fit with our offense. Whether him and De'Aaron would take turns, whether it'd be his night one night or De'Aaron's one night. What I love seeing most, as good as watching DeRozan was he was comfortable in our system. He was comfortable in our offense. We trusted him to be that guy in the clutch. Fox trusted him to be that guy in the clutch after, he took over later in overtime. But I think that was the biggest thing, is just seeing how comfortable DeRozan is. And not only that, seeing how comfortable the other guys are on our team who are on the floor with him scoring the ball in the clutch. That's the best thing ever.
I agree.
That's my favorite thing is like De'Aaron doesn't feel like DeMar's outshining him,
Exactly.
It's like they work together in such a beautiful way. And
exactly. And De'Aaron still had his shine afterwards, right?
Yeah.
And he said that in the postgame interview. He said, DeMar told him right after he made, I think, 3 or 4 shots in a row, said, hey, this is your time now. And even Fox said, yeah, I've been that guy before. I know how tiring it can get to make 3 shots in a row late in the fourth quarter at overtime. So having another clutch player with that same killer mindset late in games, and now that they're getting along and that fiery chest bump that Fox had, I haven't seen him that emotional late in the game in a long time.
Last time I saw him that emotional is when Sabonis joined the team and they embraced with a massive hug after the game. That's...
You want Fox to have that emotion.
You want Fox to be happy with his teammates.
Right.
Especially,
and he doesn't have the same amount on his shoulders now that DeRozan can take over.
And especially because Fox is considered a franchise player. He is your franchise cornerstone that you've drafted, that you've homegrown since 2017. Seeing that emotion where he cares and wants to win games is so important, because that allows him to just really take that next step and just be that guy. And that really, really shows that, hey, one, we talked about it in the earlier season, that he wants to be a top 5 point guard in the league. And 2, that people are going to look at him in the same light as a Jalen Brunson, as a SGA, as a Luka Doncic, as a Steph, even a John Morant, because John Morant is considered their franchise glue guy. Tyrese Halliburton, same thing. So it's being that guy as a point guard to carry your team to where you need to be and show that emotion really, really will gravitate people, especially in the league.
It's special to see. It really is. Before we keep talking about De'Aaron Fox, I want to talk about the end of the fourth quarter, because there's so many times where the game should have ended, Yep. Let's talk about that. Let's call it a clock malfunction, but then we'll later explain that we did find out that that's technically the right thing to do, which was news to a lot of fans in the NBA. I didn't know that when Trey Lyles saved the ball from out of bounds, the shot clock does reset. The NBA referee account came out saying the way they handled that sequence was correct, and I was shocked. I was like, "Really? I did not know." Because if you watch the clip back, when Trey jumps out of bounds, it goes back to 24, throws it in the air. It was someone on the Suns grabbed it, and then it went back to 24 again.
And it should have been
which was correct.
Yeah.
When we all thought when Trey threw it in the air, they were going to catch it. He passed it, then 24 shot clock violation should have gone off. That's what we all thought.
I was always under the impression once you have possession.
Yeah. So technically what Trey Lyles did was gain Sorry, what was the word? Possession.
Yeah.
Gain possession. So technically, I mean, yeah, the referees got that right, and that was a huge deal. Like everyone, like De'Aaron Fox, obviously, everyone on the court was like freaking out. So was Luke Laux, and the whole bench like was going crazy at that point. But they actually got it right, and it ended up in a 4-point play with Bradley Beal, which was insane to cut the lead even closer. And then Keegan Murray.
Ticky-tack call.
Ticky-tack foul on Devin Booker with, I don't even remember how much. Oh, maybe 4 seconds
like
left.
5 seconds left?
And then he barely like clips onto his shoulder. And then, of course, Booker flails.
It was away from the ball foul, too.
Yeah, which had Booker shooting that free throw to tie the game. And then they had 3 seconds to get a good shot off to win the game before going into overtime.
Yeah.
And then Sabonis played excellent defense, and then Booker ends up missing the shot. But I just realized that the play I talked about earlier about the shot clock thing, that was in overtime. So I jumped ahead. But, I mean...
Whole game, the officiating was
weird.
questionable.
It was a
Weird
very
game.
weird game where it really felt like, what is happening? Like, it really felt like they were going against us.
And then there was the 4th-point play, too, that was happening in overtime. Because we were up by 7.
Yeah, the Bradley Beal. Yeah.
Bradley Beal, 4-point play. That was also weird.
That was during the shot clock play, which is crazy.
That was also nuts. So it's like...
So there was just so many times where, like, the game should have... I mean, because, like, say, like, that Keegan Murray foul never happened.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Devin Booker would have missed that shot. We would have won then. But since the game happened to go to overtime, what did DeMar tell De'Aaron?
It's his time.
He said, it's your time. And then
time.
De'Aaron Fox went crazy in overtime.
Yep.
He combined in fourth quarter and overtime for De'Aaron. Like I said earlier, he was not playing good the first 3 quarters. He scores 12 points, shooting 6 for 8. And I think he was 100% in overtime. So
he had no turnovers either all game.
So it was just crazy. Like when like De'Aaron was shooting 0 for 6 from 3, like we've seen in past games. Normally he just keeps shooting the 3 until he makes one to get out of it. But he goes to his strength where he just kept going to that mid-range. And that's where De'Aaron is at his best. And that's how we ended up winning that game last night.
And I think that's also important. That just shows a sign of a mature player. Knowing that, one, your shot's not going in, especially when your 3 ball's going in, especially when the Kings have struggled this year from the 3-point land. De'Aaron Fox, I think this team really excels in that paint and mid-range game. Mm-hmm. And you saw tonight that was a big example why De'Aaron was able to get to a spot, easy two, mid-range. It just looked flawless for him.
Yeah, and I think he definitely fed off DeRozan's energy. I mean, the whole team did, but especially in the clutch, watching DeRozan's shots go in. And it's a shame that, you know, all the stuff that's happening with the clock operators, the refs, like as Kings fans, it's unfortunate that we're so used to that. You know, it seems like on the road, something always happens where their calls don't go our way or, you know, whatever. But like I said, that just added to us earning that win. And I think it brings the team closer together. And it makes you realize like, hey, you know, a win's not going to be easy. I mean, they should know that by now. They're all vets. But I think it just solidifies like, hey, especially being a small market team, especially being quote unquote the laughingstock of the league in recent years, we're going to have to earn every single win we get, no matter who's on our side.
Yeah, I've been seeing a lot of comments on our some of our videos talking about, oh, there's still Kings fans out there.
Yeah, exactly.
So like you were saying with like being bad in recent years, you know, we've had to like fight out of that, and like
we're gonna have to earn everything.
That's what we're doing. We really have to earn every single win because the Western Conference is not easy.
It's not easy, right? It's not easy.
Let's break down the stats. DeMar DeRozan, 34 points, unbelievable. So before I talk about everyone else, DeMar DeRozan, that was his. That was game 10. 9 out of the 10 games he scored over 20. I think, and then like maybe 5 out of those 10 were over 25. So he's just playing unbelievable basketball. He's up there with the leading scorers in the entire NBA right now with his averaging. I think he's averaging around 25, 26 points per game right now. And he's leading our team in scoring. Him, Fox, and Sabonis are the only trio in the NBA to average 20 points currently in the NBA.
It's phenomenal.
No other team has 3 players averaging more than 20. So
it's phenomenal.
It's just incredible. So that addition was not a lateral move. Okay?
Legend of winning.
We saw vintage DeRozan against the Suns. I mean, he only shot 1 3-pointer, right? Even though his 3-point shot has been falling this year, we saw vintage DeRozan. So 24 of his 25 shots were mid-range or in the paint, which is pretty crazy.
That's what we want from him too.
For sure.
Keegan Murray. had 14 points and 14 rebounds. So he is getting double-doubles. It's awesome to see. I mean, we get so excited every time Keegan gets a rebound. You know, we're standing up clapping. You know, it's just, we love seeing him being aggressive. For someone who is so shy and so quiet off the court, seeing him play like that on the court is just so incredible, and it's just only going to make him a better player.
You love to see it. And I think it's his defense, right, that's really getting him more involved in the game. I think it just adds another layer of like fieriness to him. Like you said, he's a really mild guy off the court. But I think the defense, that energy he's putting on that end is helping his rebounding. It's making him more aggressive with getting to the ball first. And I mean, he's 6'8". He should be getting to the ball first, or at least attempting it. And DeMontis does so much with rebounding, does so much with taking hits from plays on the front court. I think Keegan's defense has been translating well to rebounding, which is really solid.
No, for sure. Domantas Sabonis, 20 points, 12 rebounds, 5 assists. That's just a day in the life of Sabonis.
Yeah.
A double-double, like on his way to a triple-double, almost like every single night. Kevin Huerter had a huge bounce-back game. He was like in the first half, like he was the only guy really getting it going. He ended up with 17 points, shooting 5 for 9 from the three-point line. The game prior to the Suns, we only made 3 3-pointers, so Kevin Huerter by himself outscored our previous effort from 3.
Yep.
De'Aaron Fox, 21 points, 11 rebounds, 8 assists. And then Trey Lyles, 8 points, 6 rebounds. It's finally great to see Trey Lyles.
It's a big 8 points
This is the
and 6
first
rebound.
time I've written down Trey Lyles all year.
Big 8 points and 6 rebounds. Big.
It was huge.
Yeah.
And honestly, during the game, you guys heard it. We all watched the game together. I was getting a little fed up with Trey.
Yeah, didn't make his first couple shots.
I'm a big fan of Trey.
Yeah.
And he has been a huge part in like the Kings' success in the past 2 years, and he's a great piece off our bench.
Yeah, but
And
it seems like he turned it up as soon as you said something.
Yeah, I
think he made a 3 like
Something.
a minute after you said something to him.
I yelled some profanity at the TV, which I rarely do.
Yeah.
And Trey, I'm a huge fan of Trey.
My neighbors woke
We
up.
got a noise complaint, of course. And,
Yeah.
you know, I think it was needed. I don't know if he felt that little jolt from some way, but he, ever since I said that, he did good. And then even in the game that we're about to talk about, he filled out the stat sheet a little bit more than he did in the past 9 games. So, you know,
Trey's a big piece of this team. We need his scoring off the bench. We need his rebounding off the bench. And he had 6 rebounds that game against the Suns, which is awesome to see.
We need
for a bench
Very
big.
awesome.
That's awesome to see.
From our backup big, like we need help on the glass.
For
So
sure.
closing remarks on this Phoenix Suns game, the odds were against us. And when we signed DeRozan in the offseason, everyone was like, oh my God, they have the 2 guys that are the best in the fourth quarter. And we saw it on full display against the Suns. And that's what we were all hoping that DeMar DeRozan would be.
Yeah.
And he's exceeded every single expectation. And he was just
Yeah.
unbelievable. in
10
that
years
game.
from now, when you YouTube DeMar DeRozan highlights, and if you want to see a game that just epitomizes his career, I think there's no better example than the Suns game.
Or just
24 points in the paint.
Just show him his first
20
10
shot
games in
attempts.
Sacramento. You would be mind blown.
Yeah.
When people were doubting his age, if he could still perform, he is letting everyone hear it.
He's here. He's
He
here. He
is
needs
here.
to fuel our team, you know, but it's not, and we'll get to the Spurs game, but it shouldn't be reliant on our stars, you know, every single night. But it was good to see DeMar comfortable in our system.
So speaking of being reliant on our stars, let's talk about the San Antonio game that just finished.
Yeah. Fresh game.
Okay.
Fresh game.
We lost to a young San Antonio Spurs team by 20 points tonight. 116-96. Our second time this season, I believe, that we've scored under 100 points, which we've been saying this in today's NBA is almost unheard of. There's a lot of things that were not good about this game, but man, San Antonio, Victor Wembenyama, we were talking about Victor in the previous episode, and he played better than we thought, for sure.
Yep.
And he had his season high tonight. He scored 34 points. He was knocking down 3 after 3 after 3 in the first half. He had 4 threes. He ended up with 16 points, 7 rebounds, and 5 assists and 2 blocks, all in the first half.
Yeah.
That's what, like, you would pray for someone on your team to end the game with that. But let's talk about the good from the first half. The Kings' defense looked great. that first quarter and leading into the second quarter, we end up having 8 steals, which was crazy. Spurs had 12 turnovers in the first half, which is... So we were playing great on defense, but man, we were just not able to capitalize to our fullest potential. Talk about it, Ryan.
Well, I need to ask a question for you guys, though. How concerned are you 11 games in with the Kings shooting the 3? Like a scale from 1 to 10. Like being like completely dead honest.
So you want to dive into this deep topic right now?
I do want to talk about it right now because I think yes, we can talk about a lot of the stuff, but I think this has just been something that I think all three of us...
It's been keeping you up at night.
Yeah, it's been lingering. I'm ready to talk about it.
RT's sleeping, and he's like, those Kings at the 3-point line. RT, let me tell you this really quick before I give you my answer. We shot 26% from the 3-point line tonight.
Yeah,
it's pathetic.
I think we've shown this year that we can win without shooting the 3 ball well. So we shouldn't have to be relying on having a good percentage from the 3. I mean, we have one of the most dominant paint bigs in the league.
Yeah,
so.
And I'm not like completely concerned because I know our potential of shooting threes, and the fact that we're above 500 after shooting abysmal from the 3-point line will always be a silver lining. So I'm not completely concerned, but the thing that concerned me a lot about this game was we shot 10 for 38 from 3. Yeah. So terrible. But we did not counter with getting to the free throw line. We only got to the free throw line 9 times tonight.
Yeah.
It was a low free throw shooting night for both teams. It was the Spurs only got to the line 8 times. They made 8 for 8. We went 8 for 9. Mm-hmm. So normally when we shoot terrible from the 3-point line, at least we're getting to the free throw. When we're shooting terrible from the 3, we're getting we're making it up with the free throws, and we did not do that tonight. And that's what you see. So to answer your question, I'm not like concerned about the 3 because we're really good at free throws now. But tonight was not the story.
Yeah, it was not the story. I'll be kind of the realistic one out of the bunch. I am a little bit concerned.
Am I not realistic?
Is that not realistic?
I think it is realistic. If it's because we're a
You're
team.
telling me that the Kings you're going to shoot this bad the entire season? Is that what you're telling me?
I'm not telling you that they're going to be, but it's starting to become a concern. Like it's becoming a concern that yes, we shot 30% from 3, like throughout 11 game sample. And we're allowing teams to shoot 36.
Okay, that's the concern.
Thank
you for bringing that up. I wrote that down too. The concern is that we are shooting 28th in the league at threes, but we are allowing the team to score the most on us. So that is the concern. When we are not making our threes, we're letting them make double, almost triple us on most nights.
And tonight was the prime example of that.
But that's when you should slow the game down, right? If your shot's not going in, you need to slow the game down, get to the line, and usually we have done so. But like you said, that Spurs game, we didn't. But neither team did.
Yeah.
And that's some things you can't control, right? As how often a ref's going to call the whistle, right? If they're going to blow it a lot like they did the Suns game, or a lot like tonight where they didn't. They just didn't blow the whistle too much.
And since we weren't making our threes tonight, we only made 10. They made 22. Mm-hmm. And shouts out to Will Z Stats on Twitter. He put out something crazy. He said that this is the 3rd time this season we've allowed the opposing team to score more than 19 threes on us. So that is that's a slap in the face. I mean, obviously, like, it hurts to hear that, but like that goes back to that statistic. Like we're not scoring threes, and we're letting teams, like our perimeter defense just is not.
That's team's MO. Right now. That's team's MO. I think we saw it that first game when Anthony Edwards attempted 15 3-pointers on opening night. So.
And Julius Randle, too. Like, Julius Randle made like 4 or 5 threes that game.
Julius is not a shooter. It's crazy.
He's not.
Yeah.
I think that's the NBA's MO. Every single team, they're shooting a higher volume of threes now. Mm-hmm. So the more threes you shoot, the more that are going to go in, except if you're in Sacramento in the first 11 games, you know?
Yeah. We just looked like, against the Spurs, a team that was on the second end of a back-to-back, really. We were out-rebounded 44-37, out-assisted 31-18. And, fast break points, we had 14 to their 21. So we just looked like a team that was a little tired, right? A little sluggish, especially missing Monk, who is our firepower. We needed someone other than our stars to step up, and it just didn't happen. Against a really good Spurs team, give them credit. They played really good. Obviously, Wemby was on another level tonight, but these are teams you got to win if you want to be a top seed in the West or in your conference. These are games you're going to have to close out.
I'm not trying to make excuses or anything for the Kings, but the Spurs, they tied a record for their team with 3-pointers made with 22. So like it obviously doesn't happen often, but the fact that it has happened a lot against us is the concern.
Well, I
But
don't
you just
think
don't
it's-
expect that from a young San Antonio team to just drain 50% of their threes tonight. Like, that's just,
Right.
what are you going to do? Like, they were making some tough, and some of them are contested too. Like, they were making some tough shots where I'm just like,
Yeah.
what are you going to do?
And that's always been the Kings' MO is like teams will get confident against us once they see a few go in, especially when they're at home. They're going to get confident. The young guys are going to get confident. And they're just going to let it fly, And it seems like that always happens
Yeah.
against us.
No, I get that. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I mean, San Antonio, that team always plays well against us.
They do.
So, I mean, and it was Harrison Barnes' revenge game. He looked like he was very aggressive in that first half.
Mm-hmm.
He looked like they told Harrison, like, hey, you're going up against your old team, like, show him. Like, and he was driving to the hoop, and he was, I forgot who he shoved to the ground, but I'm like, dang, like, look at Harrison. Like, it was great to see Harrison, and like seeing him interact with the old teammates before the game was awesome to see. And
Yeah.
I mean, everyone on San Antonio played great.
Very balanced scoring.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like you said, balanced scoring. I believe I wrote this down. 7 guys in double figures for San Antonio.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Chris Paul gives so much identity to that team. Like you said, Harrison Barnes shoved one of our players. Like when has he ever done that? I think he gives them a sense of pride, a sense of ego a little bit. That's how Chris Paul is as a player. So he was definitely a huge pickup for them, and it showed tonight.
And adding like Harrison Barnes and Chris Paul, those type of veterans on a young team like San Antonio. Stephon Castle was he
He's a
did
dog.
not look
He's
like
a
a
dog.
rookie.
He is a
Yeah.
dog.
That guy did not look like a rookie
He
tonight.
reminds me of De'Aaron a lot
Yeah.
when he drives the paint, when he does those,
And he's also a good defender too. We saw that. I watched him a lot in college last year. A very solid defender, and then he comes in and then just adds an offensive element to his game.
Yeah.
It just shows that he's able to be a really, really good point guard, and that's like their point guard of the future, especially if Chris Paul is retiring possibly
Soon.
this year or next year. Yeah, so that's like
And they got Vassell coming back, getting
keys.
healthy again.
Yeah,
So-
Vassell was off the bench tonight, which
Yeah.
is, he's one of their leading scorers in past years,
Yeah.
So
the Spurs are no slouches. They're
No,
5 and 6.
they're
They're
gonna
right in
be
the
a good
thick of
team.
it. So as you would say,
the West just keeps getting better and better, and it's just
it's like
Right.
what do
We
we,
need-
do?
we need
Can
that
we go to the
expansion.
East? Can we go to the East or something like that?
And I didn't want to bring this up, but before losing tonight, if we were in the East, we would have been in third place. That's just
know,
crazy. The difference.
I
The
know,
West
I
versus
know.
East is crazy because
We
right
would have
now
been
we're
at the top of the East
Right now
and-
we're 9th or 10th right now, and we would have
Yeah.
that's just the disparity between the West and the East. It's unbelievable.
a lot
but
of teams 6 and 5 and 5 and 6 right in the West. So we're still in the thick of it. Okay, I did that one on purpose.
I know you did.
But no, we shouldn't be discouraged. I mean, the Spurs are 5 and 6. We're 6 and 5. We're still a game above 500. We just can't let this snowball into a string of 3, 4, 5 losses. Like I said
Yeah.
in previous pods,
I agree.
That's been a Kings killer in seasons, is losing 4 or 5 games in a row, and it just kills your momentum. So this is a chance, like I said earlier, for someone to step up with Monk being out, to give us some firepower, because we have 15 guys on our team, right?
Yeah.
So we need someone to step up.
I think we have like a strong mentality with the guys we have in our locker room that we're not going to let long losing streaks happen.
We shouldn't.
It didn't really happen much last year. Beam team era didn't really happen much then. But man, the years prior, I remember we had 9 losses at one point, and that was.
And bringing in a 16-year vet like DeRozan should change your team's mindset, right? That should change your team's mindset after a loss to say, hey, we need to bounce back after this. And so far it's shown, right? We just need to string together another, 3-game winning streak, and we'll be 9 and 5, right?
Yeah, I think we're going to be in good shape. It was one of those games where like you just throw your hands up in the air, like what can I do? If the shots aren't falling, they're hitting everything. There's not really much more you could do.
Yeah.
But the best thing about the NBA is you
Short term.
short term. You watch the film and you get
It's
better.
short term.
You get better for the next game. Let's just talk about the stats. Before
Yeah,
we
let's
close
talk
this
about it,
episode.
yeah.
Sabonis, of course, 23 points, 11 rebounds. DeRozan, 21 points, 8 rebounds and 6 assists. He filled out the stat sheet. Fox, 24. And so again, our 3 stars are continuing their averages of over 20 a game, and this is where it gets really bad. Normally, I wouldn't write this down, but
Uh-oh.
I feel like I need to. Kevin Huerter, 2 points.
Well, into his defense,
It gets worse, but continue.
he did have 3 steals though, which is impressive.
and all in the first quarter.
Yeah, all in the first quarter,
insane.
which is
That's what I'm
great.
saying. Like,
It's fantastic.
So like we were playing
he's
great
playing
defensively.
he's playing good defense.
I mean, yeah, Kevin. Yeah, we should have a full episode on Kevin Huerter's improved defense.
Yep.
I think we need to talk about that. But let's go back to the stats. Keegan Murray 5 points. Trey Lyles 8 points. So those were our main guys. That's the scoring output we we displayed tonight, like having 7 points from your 2 other starters.
That's bad.
That's really bad, especially when the young guys on San Antonio, 7 of them, almost 8. One of them had 9 points. But those 7 all in double figures is crazy.
Yep.
With Wemby leading the charge with the season high 34. It's a
And
tough,
he made like 6 threes tonight?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's walking into the threes too. It's not like he's wide open. It's like he is bringing the ball up, walks into the
Contested,
three.
yeah.
Contested. Sabonis is playing as good as defense as he can on a 3-point shot from deep. It's not like his toes are near the line. He's shooting these from close to the logo.
Almost half court.
It's insane. I mean, like,
gosh.
when he's playing like that, what are you going to do? Like, why couldn't he play like how he did against Chet that other night? Like, that's what we needed.
I know.
Yeah. At the end of the day, like I said, those Monk minutes are going to have to go to someone that's going to have to step up. And as I said on previous pods, Jordan McLaughlin, J-Mac, you're my guy.
J-Mac looked good tonight.
And J-Mac looked great tonight. And he didn't play at all against Phoenix. I think he might have played like 1 minute. But I want to see more J-Mac minutes. Not only on the defensive end. He had 9 tonight. 2 from 4 from the field goal, 1 for 3 for 3, and 5 points, 1 assist, 1 rebound. So in his 9 minutes, he was really productive.
He should have double the minutes.
I love his lineups with him, Keon, Trey on the floor together. I think those are 3 really smart players to have with DeMar too. But I would love to see Jordan McLaughlin step up with this with Monk being out.
And with previous games with Jordan McLaughlin, he shot the ball 4 times tonight. He was barely shooting the games before. So like
he's a very steady presence on the court.
Yeah,
like he's not this flashy player, but he gets the job done. He doesn't turn the ball over, and he made a 3 tonight. And I want to see him get more minutes.
And great defense too. Yeah. He's a dog out there.
He's a dog.
Boys, we look forward to our next game on Wednesday, 2 days from now against Phoenix Suns again.
Get a lick back.
I will be there.
I will be there.
Johnny and I are going to the game together. It's going to be a great game. Hopefully, we have amazing things to talk about in the next episode at the end of the week.
Come say hi if you see us.
And then Friday, we began our quest for the NBA Cup against the Minnesota Timberwolves.
Let's freaking go. Yeah, we just posted our previews on the in-season tournament and specifically the West Group A, which we believe we are going to make it out of. So go watch that video. Let us know what you think about the in-season tournament. The NBA Cup. They changed the name. The NBA Cup. Let us know what you think about that. Yep. Let us know what you think about this tough loss to a young San Antonio team. But
let us know who you want to see step up in Monk's absence.
Yep.
And
like the video, subscribe. We just hit 200 subscribers today.
Let's go.
We're growing, boys. Let's go.
200.
Our goal is to try to get to end of 500. So please share with all Kings fans, all NBA fans. Please, our goal is to get to 500 subscribers by the end of the year. And we would really, really appreciate that if you could make that help us out. Please.
Let us know if you want us to do merch as well, because I feel like I've been advocating for T-shirts.
People have been asking. I mean, it's bound to happen at some point.
It's bound to happen.
So just stay patient because we will do it.
I mean, we have the clothing guy. So,
hey. But one more thing: join the Kang Gang pod. Or, sorry,
join up.
Just join the Kang Gang is what I meant to say.
Join the Kang Gang.
Listen to the pod and join the KGP.
We love you. Have a great night.
Good night.
See you later.
Love you.
Go Kangs.
Go Kangs.